So we got a Predator motor. This happens to other motors, and sometimes what this one was doing is it's not allowing fuel. It won't run. Like some days it'll run really good, and then you drive somewhere and then it won't run at all, and then you drive back and then it runs perfect. And so this is one thing that can cause this issue. I'm going to show you here. It has to do with the fuel, because a lot of times it's not getting fuel. It could be even something with the electric side of things, but this one was with the fuel side of things. And so what we have here is on the bottom of the carburetor. This is the carburetor. If you don't know what a carburetor is, right here, this is the carburetor. And at the bottom of the fuel bowl, you'll see that this here screws into the bottom of the fuel bowl. If you don't know what the bottom of the fuel bowl is, let me see if I can get it up here. That piece right down there at the bottom, it's real shiny. This piece right here, that is the fuel bowl. There's a float in there, and what it does is it allows the gas to come in there and keeps it from getting flooded. So what this does is a backfire preventer. And what happens is it has this little doodad in there, like goes, you have this little piece in here that goes in, and so it pushes it out on it, so it's going to keep it in there. And so what it does is this keeps the fuel from flowing. So you can see that it does it. So I'm going to hold this here like so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the key on. You can see how it sucked it down in there, right? And then when we turn the key off, it goes up, it goes down, sucks it in, does it. What happens sometimes is this thing here gets stuck in there where it's always laying on one side, whatnot. Maybe we drive down the road and it's bouncing around, and then it allows it to work another time. So this here can definitely be an issue. It does, what it does is, so when you turn the key off, it shuts the fuel off, so that way it doesn't backfire. There's not a chance of it backfiring. So that's why it's called, usually if you look up the little thing here, it will be called a backfire preventer. Now this isn't the only thing that can cause it to not work, but this is one thing that can cause it not to work. So if we're looking at why is my machine not working? So some tips I always try to do is I might pull off the spark plug, pull it off, shove a insulated screwdriver in it, and hold it over a metal thing. See if it's sparking. If you just hold that screwdriver and it's not an insulated handle, it can shock you. It will shock the living crap out of you. So that way we know if it's getting fire. If we know it's getting fire, a gas machine has to have two things: gas and fire. If it's missing one of those, the third component is usually not an issue, unless the rings go bad or something like that and we don't have compression. So if we aren't getting fire, then we need to see why we're not getting fire. And so these are our right here, this is how they get fire. The magneto goes around, catches a magnet, and this is how it gets fire. We got two of them, one on each side. You can see one on there and one over here. So these can go bad, but they usually don't go bad. On the Hondas, they can go bad. They are known to go bad on the Hondas. And again, if we pull it off and we check it and we get fire, then we know that. We can go to the other side and make sure both sides getting fire. Maybe one's working, one's not. Sometimes you can actually have it where one's fire and one's not, and it's running bad. It can make it feel like a machine gun. It can do all kinds of stupid stuff. So we want to make sure we got fire. The next thing we want to do is make sure we got fuel. How do we check to make sure we got fuel? Well, if you have these Predators, first thing I would probably tell you to do is change out the fuel pump and put the Honda fuel pump on it. It just bolts right here in front when you pull this cover off, and right here it is. These are some things that you can look for. If this fuel pump goes bad, it will cause it to not want to run right. It'll want to bog down. It'll do all kinds of stupid stuff. Yours, what did this one ended up doing when it went bad?
Yeah, it would run for about 10 minutes and then shut off. It would run for 15 minutes and shut off. It
would run 10-15 minutes and shut off. This isn't my unit, this is DJ's, and so that's how he put that new fuel pump on it. It actually made it run better and everything.
It made it run better, sound better.
It ran like a scalded dog after he put that pump on. So now he's having an issue of, you know, one day it'll run good, next day it might run good here in the driveway. You go pull into the house and it don't do nothing. Dead. Nothing. Just crank, nothing. And so this could definitely be an issue for that, because being that it's an intermittent problem, it's probably going to be an electrical problem. Maybe it's a loose wire, maybe something, could be something in the switch, it could be a couple different things. But what I have found out of them backfire preventers, sometimes they go bad and that spring gets weak in there, or it don't want to pull out, where it's laying on its side all the time, and that can be an issue. So that's what we're looking for. So with that said, just a little information on how to keep your motor running.